Hey everybody, greetings grapplers, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're at. I just wanted to take a minute to talk about something that I discussed at the end of our class last night at the dojo, which was the topic of end of class discussions. Back when I was training judo under my judo sensei, Yuzo Kato, at the end of the night, end of every practice, nearly every practice, sometimes it was more brief than others as far as the post class discussion, but there was an analysis that he would do, and he would talk about the things he had seen, what was going right, what was going wrong, how to fix it, and like some backstories on things that he had gone through, struggles he had experienced, and how he overcame them, and how to connect that to us as the students, to help us along the way as well. And I remember a lot of times, nearly every time, when I would hear these words coming from him, I would think, man, he's talking directly to me, because that's exactly what I was going through tonight, and he's giving me this great information that's helping me. Next time's going to be a much better practice because of this, right? And I was in a situation where I lived in an apartment complex. I was a single guy, and lived in an apartment complex. And one of my best friends, who was also one of my main practice partners in the dojo there, he lived in the same apartment complex. And so we carpooled back and forth to the dojo. That was it was like a 6 mile drive or something like that for us. It wasn't anything extreme, but we would carpool back and forth just because it was convenient for us to do so. And so on the ride home, a few times we had these discussions where I would say to him, "Hey, did you get that? I mean, like, Kato Sensei was talking to us tonight, and he was talking directly to me. I could tell that he must have really been paying attention to what I was doing tonight, how I was practicing tonight." And my buddy Ken, we would often have some debates. He looks at me, he says, "No, he was talking to me." And I say, "No, he was talking to me." And we would have this little banter. And then finally we discovered, well, maybe it was he was talking to everybody, and everybody was going through some similar situations that we didn't pay attention to. We were just worried about ourselves. But it didn't take us, we figured that out, that was what Kato Sensei was doing. Was he would observe everybody, kind of see what the common problem was. And he had a great deal of experience. He'd been doing judo since he was 8 years old in Japan. And so he had already kind of been there, done that. And so he could see these things and give us some good solid advice and some critique on how to make things better. And now fast forward, I've been teaching for a long time. I've been teaching for 25 plus years, and that's kind of my job at the end of the night is, at our dojo, as being the head instructor, is sometimes I have a little brief discussion with the group about, well, this is what's happening to you right now and happening with you right now, and this is how we overcome it, and kind of give some advice. And another thing was, I remember when I first started really diving into jiu-jitsu, there was a book by Jean Jacques Machado, and I'm pretty sure it was in his book, where he talked about the last 5 minutes of class is sometimes the most valuable part of the entire class. And because of that end of class discussion that happens, where the analysis happens and the critique happens and the advice happens. And so I remember when I read that, I was like, aha, yeah, that's exactly what I went through with my judo instructor. And with Master Carlos Machado, I think it's really interesting. I love seeing how he teaches seminars. One of the things he does in the beginning of the seminar is he goes through and he'll ask, what do you think is your strong point? What do you think is your weak point? Sometimes, we call that like a threat assessment when we're talking to people in a self-defense, seminar, that type of thing. But just in general, just for a jiu-jitsu seminar, he does that. He's like, what do you think your strongest point is, and what do you think your weakest point is? And he makes a point during the seminar is not really focused on the particular technique that maybe you had a question about, but focuses more on the concepts and principles that apply to those techniques. And so at the end of the day, then he's like, so what do you, did everybody benefit from that? You think that we learned some stuff? And then also he does some analysis and critiquing at the end also. And it's really interesting because of the fact that he covers the concepts and the principles and doesn't focus on the particulars of the techniques. It covers a broader scale, and everybody in the room is very satisfied, beyond satisfied with the results that you're getting from that. And so my point to this whole thing is not just the post class discussion that comes from the instructor, but also your own analysis at the end of the day. I think that it's important for us, not to get stuck on something, but at the end of the day, it's good to reflect, on what you did in the class and how you could have made your class better. I know as instructors at our dojo, one of the things that I tell our instructors all the time, and I tell myself, that you need to make each class the best class ever, right? So was that the best class I ever taught? And sometimes it's a disappointment. It's like, no, I could have done things a little bit better. Well, how could I have done it better? Well, better communication, or better patience, or better, all these things kind of come into it. So, but there's many times when we teach a class and we're like, man, that rocked. That was a really good class. I really enjoyed teaching it. I think everybody got it. Things clicked with people, So that's a self-analysis that we do at the end of the night. And as students, I think we got to do the same thing. Is how could I have learned more, or made this learning experience better for myself or better for my practice partners, and benefited from it greater? Or did I do a good job? Yeah, maybe I did a great job that night. And things clicked, and I made some really good progress, right? So it's good to analyze that stuff, and then be a little bit not overcritical, but do some self-critiquing and see what you can do to fix it the next time. That's our goal. That's the compounding effect. Is we just want to be 1% better every time, at minimum. Sometimes it's going to be a bigger jump than that, right? But that's the goal, is that we want to be at least 1% better every single time, and that accumulates, right? And then after you've put in your time, you won't even know how much better you are, but you're going to be way better. So that was my message for today. I was thinking about that, and the end of the night discussion. Remember that last 5 minutes sometimes is the most important part of your whole practice. So be sure to pay attention and have your listening ears on for that. So everybody have a great day, and I'll see you next time.